Hey guys, welcome back. It has been a while since I made a video, and apparently it was the worst time to stop making videos because a lot has changed in the past few days. We have all this drama happening with Tennessee and their coaching search. We have the back and forth with Auburn players between Tennessee and Auburn, and I have no idea what's going on with some of our players or former players, but we'll get into that. But there's just been a lot going on, and so I want to talk about some of those issues and some of the news that's come out about coaches and players. Before we start, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you've not already done so. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's go ahead and start out with some recruiting rumors, and some of these are a little old, but we'll also get into some newer ones. It's been a little bit since I made a video, so I've got to catch up on some things. And the first rumor I want to talk about is we had all that drama with Tank Bigsby and him possibly entering the transfer portal. I did a separate video if you want to go check that out. About why that rumor even came up in the first place and why I thought it wasn't baseless, but why I thought it was not very valid. But we got confirmation from Tank himself that he is coming back to Auburn. He's excited. He's ready to play in front of our fans in our stadium. So I think it's safe to say Tank is coming back, and we have nothing to worry about with him. The second rumor that I wanted to discuss involves Gunnar Stockton. So Gunnar Stockton is a quarterback recruit that was being recruited by Mike Bobo. And I did a separate video on Mike Bobo if you want to check that out. And some of the questions we had is what is going to be the effect of Mike Bobo coming to Auburn? And I think we're already starting to see that. Mike was recruiting Gunnar Stockton pretty hard, and this is a very high caliber recruit. He's a 5-star recruit, and I think if he comes to Auburn, he could. The quarterback race, let's just put it this way, is getting very exciting at Auburn because we've got Bo Nix returning as a junior. We've got Demetrius Davis, who looks like he's going to be a very exciting dual threat. And now we've got Gunnar Stockton, who's not coming to Auburn yet, but the guy who spent a lot of time recruiting him is now at Auburn, and so it's very likely that he is going to consider Auburn. We saw that he decommitted from South Carolina. He could still go back to South Carolina, but I think a lot of people right now are predicting that he is going to commit to Auburn and be coming to us in the fall. So he's an exciting one to look out for, and if something changes and he commits fully to Auburn, I'll let you know. But I think it's safe to say there's a high probability that he will be following Mike Bobo to Auburn in the fall. I just realized I misspoke. Gunnar Stockton is not coming in the fall if he does come to Auburn. He's actually a part of the 2022 class. So sorry about that. I do want to correct myself, but I don't want to go back and edit that video. So he is a part of the 2022 class. So let's go ahead and look just real quick at his stats and why he is an exciting recruit. If you look right here, you can see that he is a dual threat quarterback. 6'1", 220, coming out of Georgia. And the most exciting part to me is if we come down here at the player rating and click right here, you can see that out of the top dual threat quarterback recruits, he is currently number 1. So I'm hoping that Mike will come through. You can see right now they have him at a 50-50 split between South Carolina and Auburn because he did previously commit to South Carolina, but I think there's a good chance that Mike can pull him to Auburn for the 2022 class. So I'm interested to see what happens with him and where he actually commits to based on the coaching changes that have happened recently. Next, I want to talk about what is going on with our transfer portal situation. So first, I heard Christian Tutt was going to the NFL. And then next thing I hear, he's pulled his name. I guess he got his draft stock and he didn't like what he saw, so he pulled his name from that. He's no longer going to the draft. He is entering the transfer portal. And then the next thing I know, he's no longer in the transfer portal. He's coming back to Auburn. What's going on with that? So you got Christian Tutt. And then the next thing we know, we've got a couple of players who have entered the transfer portal, and they're going to Tennessee. It looks like they're following Kevin Steele. But then we have some other changes happening. So I'm sure you saw Big Cat. There was the picture of him, flexing up in the Tennessee jersey, like he's committed to Tennessee. But then all of a sudden today, this comes out. Former Auburn defensive end Big Cat Bryant deletes tweet announcing transfer to Tennessee. So does this mean he is staying in Auburn? I don't know, but it kind of makes me think he is. And I know some of you were trying to play this down like it's not a big deal that he's leaving us. That was going to be a big hit for us, so I do hope he's staying. This whole thing has been kind of screwy with players going back and forth. It's been a confusing off-season so far to know what's really happening and what's going on. I'm not sure where all these players are going to land in the end, but I think if we can keep some of our experienced players, it's only going to help us out. So I do hope Big Cat stays with us. And by the time I put this out, we may have definitive news that he is staying at Auburn. But all we know for sure is that he has deleted that tweet. If we scroll down a little bit on this article, it seems like the main reason he's decommitting from Tennessee now is he had a connection to a former high school coach, I believe. It looks like it was Shelton Felton, so it says, sort of makes sense as the main reason he had chosen the Volunteers was because of his high school coach. Shelton Felton was one of a handful of staff members let go along with coach Jeremy Pruitt on Monday. So he had a connection to Felton, and then when Pruitt was let go, Felton went with him, and now Big Cat has really questioned his decisions. So does that mean he's coming back to Auburn? I'm not sure, but it certainly sounds like it's a possibility. And so some of these guys who were leaving are now coming back maybe. I think I hate that they even wanted to leave in the first place, but I would welcome them back if they want to come back, especially Big Cat. You can say he didn't make a big difference, but I think you're wrong, and he was a solid player that we need back on defense for sure. Finally, I wanted to talk about the coaching hires that Brian Harsin has made. And before you trash any of the coaching decisions that Brian Harsin has made, I just want to say that I think you need to show the guy some trust, that you can trust him and you can trust his decisions, because I don't want you hopping down in the comments or going other places and trashing the guy and looking like a twittiot.
The twitiots and all those things like that.
So let's go ahead and look at the coaching decisions he has made so far, some of these coaches he's hired, and the positions that are still hanging out there as of the making of this video. So first, we knew that he would hire some of his boys from Boise State. So I want to talk about those hires first. So he hired, which these are guys I was not familiar with, so I've got to read from this list. But he hired Jeff Schmedding to be the linebackers coach. He hired Brad Larondo to be the chief of staff, which I don't even know what that is. If you know what that is for a football team, let me know in the comments. He hired Brad Bedell as the tight ends coach. He hired Jeff Pittman, who was another Boise guy, to be the strength and conditioning coach. His most recent hire was Cornelius Williams to be the wide receivers coach, and he spent time at Troy University most recently, and he was actually a player at Hoover High School. I think he graduated in around 2005. And the last coaching hires I want to talk about are the most exciting hires to me, and those are the former Auburn Tigers who are on the coaching staff. We've got Zach Etheridge, who's going to be the cornerbacks coach. We've got Tracy Rocker as the D-line coach. And then obviously the most exciting coach to be returning, in my opinion, is Cadillac Williams will be returning as the running backs coach. And that's something that I know Tank is excited about, and I think that's only going to continue to help us recruit high-quality running backs to Auburn. And finally, before I go, I've got to talk about this Kevin Steele news. You know, he just got hired by Tennessee not too long ago. And this week, Jeremy Pruitt got sacked, so he's gone. A bunch of his assistant coaches are gone, and I'm sure you've heard the whole mess about Jeremy Pruitt and his coaches paying players by putting money in McDonald's bags. That's a whole separate story. Love to hear your thoughts on that one in the comments. But the most interesting thing to me is that Kevin Steele is now the interim head coach. He just got there. They just let Jeremy Pruitt go this week, and now he is stepping in as the interim head coach. So, there it is. Tennessee names Kevin Steele interim head coach. I'm honestly a little shocked, but let me ask you this: why do you think they're doing this? Is this a move where I've heard Kevin Steele has some ties to Tennessee? Is this a move where they're trying to slip him in to be the interim head coach, and then before we know it, they're actually going to hire him as head coach? I think that's a possibility. He's seen as a guy who has experience. We know that there was the rumor that that's exactly what was happening at Auburn before the whole Stop the Steal movement happened. And so now is that something that's happening with Tennessee? I don't know. We've heard kind of some of the same names start popping up for the Tennessee job that popped up for the Auburn job. And once again, who's the first person that has popped up? It's Kevin Steele, and he's the interim head coach. This is looking all too familiar, but only time will tell what will actually happen at Tennessee. Thank you again for watching, and if you made it to the end of this video, don't forget, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and comment. I really appreciate you guys watching this. I have a lot of fun making these videos, and as long as you keep watching them and sharing them and commenting and liking and all that fun stuff, I will keep making them. Thank you again, and I will see you in the next one.